Hello everyone, we are discussing stereochemistry for the semester 2. In my previous video, we have discussed about different kind of isomerism and isomers. In this video, we will discuss about some very important fundamental terms of stereochemistry which you might studied in the 12th standard. But these terms are very important because unless you don't remember these terms, you cannot understand this subject easily. So in this video, we will discuss these terms. First, what is plane polarized light? So friends, the light which we experience in a day-to-day basis, that is called ordinary light. We know that light is electromagnetic radiation. We also know that light having particle nature as well as light having wave nature. We call it a dual nature. And as shown in this figure, you can see that these light waves are propagating, they are traveling into all the planes. This is called ordinary or unpolarized light. When such light is filtered or it is a pass through the polarizer or some means like grating or Nicol prism, then this light filtered and other side, as you can see in the figure over here, we are getting the light waves propagating in a same plane. Now they are planar. This light is called plane polarized light. Now let us discuss what is optically active compound and what is optically inactive compound. So again, the same phenomenon. This is ordinary light. Light waves are traveling in all the planes, passing through the polarizer. We are getting all the planar waves, that is called plane polarized light. Now in the path of the plane polarized light, whenever we placed any substance, then this plane polarized light will pass through it and there will be interaction between the substance and the plane polarized light. After interaction, if this light wave come out as it is without undergoing any uh, deviation or rotation, then this substance is called optically inactive compound. It is not optically active. But here, as you can see that in the figure, this light wave when passed through this substance, after their interaction, see, it is rotated at the angle theta. So we can say that the compound which we have placed is capable of rotating polarized light. That's why such a compound is called, here it is written that, optically active substance. Two stereoisomers, the one which is capable of rotating plane polarized light to the right side, that is called dextrorotatory. This one. It is a Greek word, Latin word. Dextro stands for the right side. And symbols which we are using for the dextro are either small d or plus sign. And its mirror image isomer, if one isomer is rotated right side, then its mirror isomer will rotated exactly at the same angle but at the opposite direction, means left side. Such isomer is called LIGO isomer. Symbols we are using are either L, small l, or minus sign. We cannot use here capital D or capital L because let me remind you, to designate the configuration of the sugar, D-glucose, L-amino acid, we are using there capital D and capital L. So for the dextro and levo, we should use small d and small l. Now, all isomers or all compounds are optically active? Answer is no. All compounds are not optically active, but only those having at least one chiral carbon or asymmetric carbon. Friends, some teachers also pronounce chiral as a chiral. So, first of all, let us make this point clear that compounds in which at least there is one asymmetric carbon or chiral carbon, they are optically active. Now, what is chiral carbon? What is asymmetric carbon? So, name itself suggests that, and you can also see in the figure, this is example of lactic acid. See, all the four groups are different. With this carbon, methyl group, carboxylic acid group, hydroxyl group, and hydrogen. All the four groups are attached, are different. So such carbon with which all four groups or atoms attached are different, then it is called chiral carbon or asymmetric carbon. Let me tell you friends, in a higher studies, so in the final year, again you all will study stereochemistry again. You will also study one subject named symmetry, and there we will modify this definition. There we will discuss that presence of asymmetric carbon is not only criteria, because you will study many such compounds where there is no asymmetric carbon, but those compounds are lacking any kind of symmetry elements. So right now you don't know about the symmetry. So at your level, this is the definition you should remember. Which isomers can be optical active? Those having at least one chiral carbon present. So right now you have to remember this definition. Let us move on to next term, chirality. Property name chirality. So chirality word derived from the Greek or Latin word care. It is not the chair, it is a care. And meaning of this word is hand, our hand. You can see in this figure that in a normal condition where person not having any deformities, our both the hands are mirror images of each other as shown in this figure. We can also say that the mirror image of our left hand is a right hand and right hand is a left hand, vice versa. So, see, this hand, suppose in this figure the left side one, cannot superimpose over this one, its mirror image. Meaning of superimpose means this hand and its mirror image cannot exactly fit over each other. But the exact word, proper word is used is called superimposable over each other. If I try to do so, on this thumb, there will be this index, this finger, and on this last finger, this thumb will be there. So you cannot, they don't fit over each other, they don't superimpose over each other. This is called chirality. Now same property you will find in two stereoisomers also, which are mirror images of each other. See this one. This isomer cannot fit over its mirror image. So we can say that they have property of chirality. This is the meaning of chirality. Next term is enantiomers. In the figure, you can see the two isomers of lactic acid. Both are mirror images of each other and also they are non-superimposable over each other. Such isomers, here you can read that stereoisomers which are mirror images and not superimposable over each other are called enantiomers. Very important point is enantiomers have most of properties, physical properties, and mostly all chemical properties are same. One more thing, let me tell you, stereochemistry is a 3D chemistry, three-dimensional chemistry. But whenever you are reading from the book or your teacher is explaining on the board, it is a two-dimensional surface. So many times you have to visualize the molecule. So sometimes that's why stereochemistry many students found it difficult. So these are the universal notations to write the molecule. Here in this figure you can see that two bonds, carbon COOH and carbon CH3, they are in the same plane. That's why they are written with the continuous line this way. But this bond, carbon OH bond, written with the thick dark line, it is called thick wedge line bond. So always that bond, we are observer. So this bond is actually coming from the plane of the screen towards us. Or you can also say that it is the front bond towards the observer. And the one which is written with the broken line CH bond, it is actually going away from the observer, or you can say that that bond is at the back side of the observer. So these are the universal symbols to write the bonds in any book. The of the stereochemistry, the molecules will be written in the same manner. So without asking anybody, you can understand these two bonds are in the same plane. This one is a front bond and this one at the back side. And diastereomers. So these are the four stereoisomers of the 2,3-dibromopentane. Five carbons are there, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 2 bromine. These two, they are mirror images and also not superimposable. That's why they are enantiomers. These 3 and 4 are also enantiomers. But if you carefully observe the first and the third one, see, they are not mirror images. Yes, they are not superimposable over each other, but at the same time, they are also not mirror images. Now also check 1 and 4. This one and this one. Not mirror images, not superimposed. Same you will find 2 and 3. Right? This second carbon is mirror, but this carbon not. Same you will find in fourth pair, this one and this one, 2 and 4. So, stereoisomers which are not mirror images of each other and also not superimposable over each other are called diastereomers of each other. Diastereomers sometimes having some properties different, but enantiomers always have all the properties same. Let us move on the next, racemic mixture. Racemic mixture is a mixture of equal quantities of both enantiomers. So we know that enantiomers are optically active, but when we mix them in a same quantity, so what will happen? The resultant mixture, racemic mixture, it will be optically inactive. Now you can understand that different isomers, both isomers in a same quantity, so half R dextro will try to rotate the plane of the light to the right side, but remaining half are the LIGO. So they will try to rotate left side. So net rotation of the mixture would be 0. So racemic mixture is always optically inactive. Both isomers of this mixture are also known as racemates. Friends, scientist Louis Pasteur, the same scientist who discovered the process of pasteurization of milk, he first time observed this phenomenon in the enantiomers of tartaric acid, which is also called racemic acid. So, because this phenomenon first observed in racemic acid, that's why this mixture is called racemic mixture. The process of preparing racemic mixture is called racemization. You can read it over here. Racemization is a conversion of optically active compound into racemic form by heat or by chemical or some biological means. That is called racemization. And exactly opposite of racemization is optical resolution. Optical resolution refers to the separation of the enantiomers from the racemic mixture. And friends, let me tell you, this is very, very challenging because we know that enantiomers have all the properties same. Now, whenever we separate any two thing, there must be point of uh, some there must be some point at which they differ. Let me give you example. Suppose you have mixture of sugar and sand. So whenever you mix them into the water, sugar will dissolve and sand is water insoluble, so it will not. So now if you filter, you can separate them. It means that we are able to separate this mixture because their solubility was different. But since enantiomers are or they have same properties, so this resolution, their separation is a very very challenging, but it is a must. Friends, many medicines which we are taking are optically active compounds. Many times out of the racemic mixture, only one isomer is actually active as a medicine, another isomer is not. But let me tell you one more important thing. Many times this happens that one isomer can be used as medicine and another isomer can cause toxic effect in the body. Now this is something which we cannot tolerate. Okay, there are many examples where one isomer can be used in the treatment of one disease and another isomer in the used in the treatment of another disease. So that's why when any medicine found optically active, then we have to separate both the isomers and we have to make sure which isomer is actually active as the medicine and patient should be given only that particular isomer. So friends, in this video we discuss racemic mixture, racemization process, optical resolution, what are diastereomers, what are enantiomers, what is property called chirality, which isomers can be optically active, what is called asymmetric or chiral carbon, uh, what is the meaning of optically active and inactive compound, what is the meaning of dextro and levo isomers, and what is plane polarized light. So as I said earlier, these words are very very important fundamentals and we are going to use them very frequently. So you must know, you must understand these terms thoroughly.